Hello, everybody, and welcome to Middle-Aged Geeks, the podcast where we chat about everything and anything geeky that we come across in any given week, be it movies, TV, games, tech, and everything in between. I'm one of your hosts, Daz, and I'm joined by my trusty co-host, a martial arts champion and a man who once fought 17 people in a barroom brawl and won. It's Ferocious Phil.
Yep.
How are you doing, Philly?
Hello, everyone. Hello, Daz. I'm doing well. Yeah. Every word you said is 100% true. No, I'm pretty good. I'm good. I'm looking forward to talking about some of the news that we have that came out this week, and also the insane movie that we saw, which is going to be fun to talk through as well. So yeah, should be a good episode.
Super duper. Yeah, it's just nice not to have to talk about or review a Zack Snyder movie for quite a while. Although first up, a little bit of feedback, and Zack Snyder actually comes into the feedback. So Dave from Dublin pointed me in the direction a few days ago of some Zack Snyder interview content that I'd missed, and another bit of info on one of the more curious moments in the movie. But firstly, that large head with the glowing eyes in the engine room in Rebel Moon 2 that we were talking about, that's never, explained or referenced again or at any point ever. Someone said on Reddit that they read somewhere or something in some kind of transcription or something that it's apparently like a captured space god or something. Just like, what? Captured space god, yeah. So you kind of, so these galactic ships are actually powered by cosmic gods and coal? Just like, where, like, yeah. It's fucking wild, right? They're just kind of like, it's another one of these things where he just obviously just kind of went, oh, yeah, that'll be cool. And just moves on. Like someone said, anything that's not in his happening on screen, let's say, he forgets about instantaneously. So he probably writes something, and then next scene, then he just forgets about everything else. He's just like, 12-year-old with ADHD or something. It's just fucking bananas. But he said he was actually asked about the steam powered galactic spaceships. And he said, this is like verbatim, he said, like, how do the spaceships work? I don't know, and I don't care, You're like,
you know what? I admire the honesty. If anything, I admire the honesty because, as we spoke ad nauseum about it on last week's episode, it's fucking bananas. Like the setup, and it makes it even more mental. The fact that it's some sort of captured space god that's powering the ship once again.
But it needs coal. Like an insane amount of coal.
They need grain. They need coal. But yeah, they have the power to capture gods.
I just love to hear more about that.
Let's not talk anymore about. He does deserve it.
But he did actually say he doesn't listen to any feedback or critic reviews at all. And he said, like, if you don't like his movies, then you're probably into Happy Meals, and you just eat the general Hollywood content that they bombard you with. Like, he really thinks that he's creating high art here. Anyway, moving on, I've no doubt that he will still occupy our thoughts and from time to time.
Nightmares.
Nightmares, yeah. So on to quite a lot of bit of news actually this week, starting with the fucking boombastic Deadpool and Wolverine trailer, which I just love when you get to see it before me, or vice versa. There's just a simple WhatsApp saying Deadpool trailer, fuck me. It's like,
it was fucking awesome.
It's fantastic. It's everything that you want in a trailer. Again, not giving away too much, but definitely hinting a little bit that there may be the kind of bit of a multiverse madness to it. What type of Wolverine is it? It's obviously it's Wolverine pre-movie Logan, but is it in the same world? It's thereabouts, but it's fantastic. It's so gory. It's got excellent humor. The two of them just look like they're going to be a fucking riot on screen. Absolute riot.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of that comes down, doesn't it, to the personal relationship off screen. Like they're
best
good mates as well outside of it. It's there's so many bits in it, that are fantastic. It looks like Cassandra Nova is the main. She's like, isn't she like she's like Professor X's fucking she's like Professor X's twin sister. I know the lore is weird. I think it's something. I'm going to some comic book person is going to tell me this is completely wrong, but it's something like he killed her or absorbed her in utero, or she's made from his whatever the fuck. I don't know. It's something weird. She's some sort of
weird.
Yeah, I don't know the full background, so I'm not going to say because I'd only get it wrong. But I loved the fact that her base is in Ant-Man. The Ant-Man obviously died when he was in giant form, and it's his head. When you see the fucking
the head
mask open and the skull inside,
great.
it's just so funny. It's now the trailer just looks fucking mental, like it really does. Loads of little Easter eggs and stuff in it. It's I'm fucking dying for that movie.
Yeah, 100% on board, 100%. And I imagine, we'll get maybe one more trailer, probably a month or a few weeks from release. It'll probably give some more story or whatever, but I don't need anything. I'm in all the way. I'll see this multiple times, and hopefully they correct the wrongs and the misfires of the last 4 or 5 years, but 4 years of Marvel. Fingers crossed. Next up, there was, like, we did a bit on VR back in, like, episode 4 or 5, and we talked about the Vision Pro, and then the Vision Pro came out. And now Apple has said it's scaling back production as sales are underperforming. And this was not a shock to a lot of people, as I'm guessing Apple are just finding out that not a lot, like the general Joe Soap doesn't have 3,500 of expendable income to spend on a fancy toy,
exactly.
which is especially when the Meta Quest 3 does pretty much the same thing, not to the same level of quality in any way, shape or form, but it does 80-90% of the same experience for $3,000 less, which is it's very hard to, like, it's just a very strange price point that they came in with. But like, when I heard that, I was like, fuck, is this the end of it? But like, we talked about this yesterday, that like VR is still a stable market. Like, it's a little niche market, but it's, the Quest is sold, that's sold, I think it's, as of last year, it sold like, the Quest 2 sold about 15 to 20 million units. There's a lot of sales out there, and Apple has said, like, it's planning to scale back, and only ship like 400,000 units instead of 700,000 units. So it's still fucking making them. It's not saying
it's still a lot. Yeah,
it's still, but it's just, it sold a lot at launch. The Vision Pro, I think it was like 200,000 pre-orders or something like that, but it did seem like it was a product without a clearly identified target audience. And like the iPhone, there were apps, everyone makes everything for it. With the Vision Pro, it was only like Disney Plus, maybe one or two other companies that kind of launched specific digital experiences specifically like tailored to the Vision Pro, which is a bit strange, but it'd be interesting to see how it fares going forward, or if they do slash the price, because they very rarely slash prices. But what are your thoughts on it?
We were never going to pick one up
anyway. We were, but
well, no. I mean, I was going to say maybe the next. I was thinking maybe the next iteration of it, perhaps. If I happen to have a few grand lying around, I would pick one up. But it's to come in at that price point. It's just that I find it weird that they're surprised. That the fact that, like, they have to announce that you're scaling it back. They're saying because demand isn't as high as they thought it was. I mean, you should have been. You had to have known that a device that's going to cost $3,500, is for someone to make that kind of investment. There has to be a big demand already, I think, there. And as you said, VR is pretty niche market as it is. So the demand for something like that already isn't there. So to come out with something with that expensive and then be shocked that the demand isn't as high, I would have thought more from Apple, considering how savvy they are in the market. Than it seems a weird one.
Absolutely.
I've no doubt in the future we'll get to that point, like we're fucking, I think Ready Player One, when he's when everybody almost has access to these things, and I'm sure that will happen eventually. But right now, I'm not totally shocked that that it's not selling as well as they thought it would.
Exactly, and I mean, even like the Meta Quest 3, when that was launched, it didn't do as well as the Quest 2, but it wasn't really branded as a failure in any way at all. Like, it's still incredibly popular. Just a lot of people have the 2, and you're not going to get the 3. And the Quest 2 was $250-$300, and the Meta Quest 3 is $500. So it's just the minute you go up in price, that, like, people will hang around and go, well, I have the second version, I might as well just wait another few years and jump up to Meta Quest 4 or something when it comes around. But anyway, interesting to see how if it does come down in price. If it was like 1,200 quid, I'd get one, but $3,500, no fucking chance, not a chance. So next up, we have The Lord of the Rings extended editions. I think it's extended editions are coming back to cinemas this summer, remastered. And just 2 words, fuck yes. Sign me up. Bring it on.
June the 8th,
bring it
I think
on.
it is.
June the 8th. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I have to do a Lord of the Rings episode. But it's, bring it. Absolutely bring it on. Like I saw each of them. I saw the first 2 more than 10 times in the cinema. So the third one, about 7 or 8 times in the cinema. And I will easily see them one more time. And I'd love to see the extended versions, which I've never seen in cinema, which I think are absolute perfection.
Yeah, I've never seen them. I've seen extended versions, obviously, but not on the screen. I don't even know if they have been on the big screen before. Like maybe in like niche, smaller cinemas. I don't think they've ever been like not extended. Not but so
it's going to be on IMAX. Hopefully, that'd be amazing.
God, that'd be amazing if they put it on IMAX. That'd be fast. It's time to invest in a colostomy bag. I think
back to back.
Just book in and just keep bringing food to me. I'll just sit here and just get fatter and fatter.
17,000 packs of Haribo.
That'll be good.
Yeah, so bring it on.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
So that's all from me on the news front. How about yourself? Do you have a couple of things tickled your fancy this week?
Yeah, a couple of things that jumped out at me. Like I'd mentioned a couple of times about 28 days later, 28 weeks later. Like I love both of those movies, and obviously there's a 28 years later. With Danny Boyle returning to direct and everything, and some of the casting was announced this week, which is and I'm delighted. Like Jodie Comer can do no wrong; she's fantastic. Ralph Fiennes and and Aaron Taylor Johnson, who for me is getting better. Better. Like I think when he first kind of came out, I was like, you kind of take or leave him, but I thought he was great, kick ass. I loved him in Tenet. Like I think he's brilliant for the role he has in Tenet. I don't know how he's going to get on in Craven because it looks wank, but good for him. I like him. I thought he was great. Like in Bullet Train, he's fantastic.
Oh, he's excellent in that. Yeah,
yeah, he's really, really good.
And he's the new James Bond, right? Is that official or is that still a rumor?
I don't know if it's official. I don't know. But I would be. I'm delighted now to see those 3 casts and that. I'm looking forward to that one.
Absolutely.
The other one is another. So I suppose one that's in a series is Face Off 2 is moving forward with Travolta and Cage starring in it. So that's fucking wild because if they fucking do, I want to see them back to back. Please God, they put back to back in the cinema, man. I will happily go and see a double feature.
That's a must.
Oh, stop.
That when you texted me about that, I didn't know about this at all. And I've rarely been as happy to see a text in my life. I was like, oh fuck, I loved that first movie. I just could not get enough
ridiculous.
of it. It's so good, and it's a cult classic. Doesn't even do it justice. I mean, it probably was a movie that came out before its time, but it's an absolute classic, and it's not just as an action movie, but of which it was an absolutely exceptional one, but it was an acting masterclass of those 2 guys, studying each other and believably selling this kind of switch in the movie, and you add to that John Woo's fucking mastery, and I believe he's not back for the second one, or if there is a second one, it's some other guy I can't remember, but he, like the guy who's doing it, I can't remember his name, but I looked up his resume on IMDb, and it's questionable. I think he's done a lot of kind of horror stuff, and you're just like, oh, don't fuck it up, buddy, don't fuck it up. But it's bring it on. But that movie, we keep on, like, ever since Argyle, we've been talking about like music in movies, and the kind of marrying an action movie to an off-kilter, like, different song or slow song. But in that, the original Face Off, they have, the kid is listening to Somewhere Over the Rainbow on his earphones. There's a lullaby, and he's facing the camera, and behind him is a big giant shootout being played out in slow motion. And that's one of the first times I ever saw that kind of contrasting piece of music to the scene. And it just worked so fucking well.
When it works, it's great. Like, I'm always reminded of
that
them.
Scene is amazing.
Do you know, what is it? I don't like the song because it's a Liverpool song, but in Nobody, the big battle towards the end, they're doing that. You'll never walk alone is playing. And all the guys walking and just getting
brilliantly.
Just getting killed and fucking in multiple different ways while this song is playing in the background, and You Never Walk Alone is being played, and it fits the scene. Good. I think when you can pull it off, it's that contrast, as you say, it it can work really, really well. But when you get it wrong, sometimes it just falls flat in its tits. Like,
yeah. Watch and learn, Matthew Vaughn. Come on.
But the only other one I wanted to mention was Fallout. So we've talked about Fallout a few times on the show. Is the effect that it's had on the games, the show, the sales of the games, and we saw it with The Last of Us as well. The sales of both Last of Us games went through the roof when it came out, and they were smart because they released Last of Us Part 1, an upgraded graphics thing, so they knew what they were doing as well, I'm sure, with the timing. But this has seen, we know that the infamous Fallout 76 was all there was an absolute mess. That saw 1 million players in a day, which is mental, to for a game like that to be getting an increase. But we're seeing every game, the sales are going up, the Steam sales, the people playing online has gone up. It just shows the effect that this can have. If I had a cult classic game now, I'd be like, shit, man, how can we get a TV show out there now and try and get a sales back up? Like, it's just, it's I mean, it must be over the moon. And I just, on that as well, it was great to see. I saw them. It was like for the premiere, I think it was. This go back a few weeks, the premiere of the show, and the creator, whose name escapes me, was being interviewed, on the carpet, and it was just seemed so wholesome. IGN were telling them that they gave the show a 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
and he was so excited. He was so
delighted,
couldn't believe it.
IGN
gave it a 9. Oh my god! Like, he was just, you could see he was genuinely delighted. It was a really really wholesome moment. But I'm delighted. Were you surprised to see that?
No, not at all. It's because after we spoke before about it with The Last of Us, and it generally tends to happen when correlating pieces of media are released. There's an uptake in something related to it. But someone on YouTube made a good comment about Bethesda and Fallout 5, which is probably about fucking 10 years away at this stage. That it's probably better to just as you said, just look at old properties or old IP or current IP and get somebody to make a TV show about it and obviously boost your sales. Because like Spider-Man 2, let's take Insomniac Spider-Man 2 cost about 300 to 350 million to make for the PS5. And you go, oh, okay, I'm sure they got a big return on that, but Amazon paid Bethesda to make Fallout. So Bethesda didn't even spend any money, and they've just made a shit ton extra money on top of a game that came out in 2015 or something. So maybe that's the way to do it. Just don't make a new game. Just make TV shows of your old games, and reap the fucking rewards. Which is
Skyrim, the TV show coming to Amazon Prime in 2030.
Yeah, it's fucking great. Do you have any more news?
No. Just I suppose we could. I think there was a couple of little bits that jumped out at me that I was excited about, which was the Jim Henson documentary, which is coming to Disney at the end of May.
Oh yeah.
Idea great. Man, I think it's called. So that'll be fun. To kind of to look back on that. And apart from that, no, nothing really gone on. I haven't been even watching or playing a massive amount. I was going to pick up Stellar Blade, but I don't know. The reviews are a bit conflicting. Like, I think IGN gave it a 7. A few other places gave it around that, a little bit higher. I might give it a little while and then go for it, because I haven't even finished. I've barely scratched the surface on Final Fantasy 7. So, and then I haven't watched a massive amount, right? But I did watch a movie the other day that's a few years old, and apparently it has a sequel. I had never heard of this movie. It's called Becky. Becky, yeah. So it's an R-rated movie, and it's basically this kid is in it who's I know her from, she was in one of the Annabelle movies, from that Conjuring world thing, yeah. And it was I just watched it because I saw that it was an actual horror, like a serious, like a horror of this kid's getting revenge on people who've killed their dad or whatever. And she's a little psycho, but what intrigued me about it, the reason I wanted to watch it, was that Kevin James is in it. And it's him playing a serious role. He plays a neo-Nazi. Like, he's got a swastika tattooed on the back of his head. Yeah, he's a swastika tattooed at the back of his head. Like, he's this fucking murderous, racist Nazi dickhead. And it's just, I wanted to see it just to see him in that role.
Yeah, does it work?
Yeah, it actually does. Like, it's a very average movie, but you totally buy him as this fucking bad guy. Like, you really buy him as a bad guy in it. Which I was so impressed with. Like, there's one bit. I'm just going to ruin one bit. She stabs him in the eye with something, and she makes her escape, and he has to go back in, and his fucking eyeball is hanging down by the fucking by vine, like out of his eye, and he's like, "Look, someone's gonna have to cut it off." So one of his henchmen tries looking for something to cut it off. All he can find is like one of those scissors that only cuts paper, and he's just trying to cut it, and it's squishing in the fucking thing.
Oh, fuck it up!
It's ridiculous, like, but it's just there's some great death scenes in it. The kid is great in it. I'm not sure her name is Lulu something. She's really good. It's not a great movie by any stretch. Like it's an easy, but it's entertaining. Like it's one of those 90-minute movies. It's just the right amount. But apparently they made a sequel about it as well, so it must have done well enough. But it's a bit of fun. But that's really the only thing I've kind of watched. What about yourself? Have you been playing and watching much the last week?
Watching just Fallout, kind of the slow burn. We're on to episode 5 now, and it's after the first 3 episodes are brilliant. The 4th episode was the first one that was Self and Ali were saying it was still great, but it was the first one that was kind of the run of the mill, just standard kind of episode. It wasn't like 10 out of 10, but then episode 5 just ramped it up again. But even episode 4, when we felt it was plodding along, they're still getting through so much story, and they're progressing everything, and it's very intriguing. And the kind of mysteries are, you're just, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and you're just dying to watch another one, but you're fucking one eye is open. And there's more character development in like any 5 to 10 minutes snippet of any of these episodes than there are in 4.5 hours of Rebel Moon. Sorry, I have to go back there again. They're getting through so much that, like, in the space of 5 minutes, there's just it's just really, really just grabbing us. And there's only 8 episodes, so we're trying to make it last as long as possible.
But isn't it great that pretty much, like, you don't have to be into gaming at low, and everybody's watching it. Like my elder said it to me the other day, right?
Watching it,
She goes, have you watched that show, Freefall? I said, Freefall? She goes, yeah, Freefall. I was like, never heard of it. What's it about? I was there looking it up on fucking IMDb. I can't say, what is she on about? She goes, Freefall. There's like a bunch of people. They start off, they all live underground, and then they don't know what's going on outside underground. What the fuck are you talking about? And eventually I fucking caught what she was talking about. Like, it's like, that's lunatic. Freefall. But like, she's watching, I think anybody, people who just aren't into video games, are all, when I talk to somebody, they're saying that they're watching it, which is a great sign. So yeah, hopefully we get, I know we're getting to season 2, but hopefully we get many more.
Oh, bring it on. Yeah. Cause you can just rinse and repeat and just keep it going. I haven't watched too much other than that. What I've been playing is, another fucking beauty of a little game, that I discovered last week called Dave the Diver. Have you heard about this game at all?
No, it vaguely rings a bell, but I don't think so. Though.
I think I'd seen just an image with the title, and came out last year on Switch and PC, and it just came out last week on PS4 and PS5. But like, it's a 2D kind of pixel art game from South Korean developers, Mint Rocket. I don't really know anything about them. And I knew next to nothing about this game, apart from like the fact that you play as a guy named Dave, and presumably there's some diving involved. So I said, I saw I got 9 out of 10, or is 90% in Metacritic. So I said, give it a game, or give it a go. And it's brilliant. Like you play as Dave, and you guess it. You're a diver, and you get a job on this island on a boat, just diving to kind of procure ingredients for and fish for a local sushi restaurant. But then you become the manager of that restaurant, and the game is kind of split into 2 game modes then, where you're diving during the day and then you're running the restaurant at night, and you set the menu and wait on customers, and frantic scenarios like kind of Overcooked, but not as detailed in making the dishes. Like, you just run around bringing dishes and drinks to customers, being efficient as possible. And the social media aspects to it to keep the restaurant going. And then there's, you can upgrade your diving gear and weapons. You've got like weapons underwater, guns, and tackling sharks and all this stuff, and crazy otherworldly beings. It's fucking amazing. Like, I'm 8 hours into it.
That sounds deadly.
Yeah, I've only started to kind of venture into the depths now, where you need you get a headlamp to navigate, and it's total pick up and play. But the game mechanics are very simple, but one of those where they're incredibly enjoyable to master. And I think
Yeah.
the beauty of it in 8 hours so far is that it keeps giving you more and more and more, and adding new gameplay mechanics. Like, you think you've learned everything, but then you're told in the restaurant you can hire staff now, and that changes the strategy of, you put the staff in the kitchen or you put them on waiting tables, and to try and maximize revenue. And it's amazing for like 20 quid. Pick it up if anyone hasn't. For one of the greatest pick up and play games I've come across in some time. And actually, if you're on PlayStation, it's on the PlayStation Plus. So it's one of these free monthly games this month. I'd highly recommend it. It's another kind of sleeper indie hit for me in 2024. It's fucking brilliant. So yeah, that's all I've been watching. Yeah, but definitely pick it up. I think you'd fucking love it. Really, really good.
Yeah, you've sold that to me, man. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out.
That's great. So yeah, with that out of the way, we're going to get on to our movie review this week, which is Boy Kills World. And Phil is going to take us through some of the maddening moments of this crazy fucking film. Take it away, Phil.
Yeah, cheers, dude. Yeah, this is a fun one. I guess, as we always say with these, if you are a new listener or viewer on YouTube, our reviews, our discussions, very spoiler heavy. So we'll give you a little bit of what the movie's about at the start and what our overall kind of views of it are, but then we'll be getting straight into a fairly in-depth discussion. So just to give you a fair warning, that's how we do it. So yeah, this one is mental. It's the synopsis is that on IMDb is that it's a fever dream action film that follows Boy. That's all we get. His name is just Boy.
Boy, yeah.
Yeah, he's a deaf person with a vibrant imagination, and when his family's murdered, he's trained by a mysterious shaman to repress his childish imagination and become an instrument of death.
Sold.
It's I don't know the director, Moritz Moore.
I think it's his feature debut.
Yeah. Directed by him, a budget of 25 million, and the main guy who plays Boy is the wonderful Bill Skarsgård, who is I love the roles that he's picking. He's just brilliant in everything I've seen him in. So I love that he does big roles, small roles. He's just great. What's your kind of overall, before we get into it, that's the synopsis, what's your kind of overall take on it, Daz, before we get into it?
I thought it was really, really good fun. I mean, both of us, we kind of the same kind of views after it, where we're just going, it was fucking just good crack, like good time, wasn't too long. Like, it's not going to rock the cinematic world in any way, but it's very inventive. It's much funnier than I thought. Like, I knew it was going to be kind of gory and fight scene heavy and all that, but it was laugh out loud funny at times. I think it steals from some movies, but it's also kind of has a fresh take in certain aspects. Skarsgård is, as you said, he's brilliant, and his roles that he's choosing are fantastic. But I think he's excellent in this movie, and he has no lines, like deaf and mute, so he just doesn't say anything. But like his physical performance, it's obviously he's fucking shredded, so he looks the part, but and he does very well in the fight scenes. But his physical, it's almost like his physical comedy at times, where he's just kind of standing around and just he's just trying to lip read people, and he's trying to just perceive the world, and just acting without talking is always, I think, very challenging for actors, and I think he kills it, pun intended. And it was really great. The action was great, over edited, we'll get into that. But and some nice kind of twists and turns in the final act. It was just as we said, it was one of those really, really, really good 3-star movies where you kind of go, that was, really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, but like I would disagree with the length. I thought it was too long. I thought about half an hour too long. Like it's nearly 2 hours, just under 2 hours. And this for me should have been a 90-minute movie.
The last
like especially towards
the
last act, exactly. The last act is dragged out to bits, as different parts they could have made shorter.
I think that with that third act, I think if they didn't go down the route they did, which we'll get to, where they kind of changed things up a little, I think that adds the runtime to it. If they just stuck to it, where he's going on his mission or whatever, definitely there's 20 minutes there where you just it just gets shaved off because it would just outstay its welcome completely.
Yeah,
it does kind of drag a little bit to the end. Yeah.
It does, and it's a tone change as well. You know, we haven't up to that point. It's really like, as I said, you'll have to help me out with some of the bits in here because my notes are all one word because I have to keep looking at the screen because the shit is going on constantly that I couldn't be looking away. Because if I look down, I can hear punches and kicks and guns going off. Like I can't. I'm trying to fucking take notes down while I'm watching it. So
we'll miss really a lot of what happens.
Yeah. So like, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I would kind of put it in that kind of bracket of like Guns Akimbo or what's that one? Shoot 'em up. You know, that Shoot 'em up with Clive Owen, like stuff like that, where they're just fun, ridiculous, over the top action. Don't need a massive amount of story, and I think that kind of fits in there. So yeah, like we'll get into it now anyway. But for anybody who wanted a spoiler free, that's what we think. So the movie kicks off and we find out about this thing called the culling, and as Daz said, there's a lot of stuff here that's taken from other stuff. Like there's the whack of like fucking Hunger Games parts, you know, like this, exactly what this culling thing is, you know, that a certain amount of people are killed to keep the masses in line. So there's like a culling day each year. And we get it starting off with this montage of this guy's, the young kid's ma's killed or whatever. And then we get a montage then of this young kid training, which is basically who's going to grow up to be boy. And actually, did you notice who the actor was playing the kid when he's playing young version of himself?
No, yeah.
It's Homelander's son from The Boys.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, straight away I was like, oh yeah, I know that little fucker. I'm not even sure. Like, I think they only give him even before he gets muted. I think they only give him like one line or something in the movie. He gets
a few
no
words.
lines even as a kid. But we can start to see him like he's getting trained hard by this shaman that we mentioned in the synopsis. He's like he has him buried underground, only breathing through like a pipe, trying to stay alive underground. Like he's all this really, you know, plowing fucking through the mud, doing all these really hard stuff. Spurred on by this shaman, played by Yayan Runian, who's fucking awesome. I love him. He's people would have seen him in a lot of your kind of Malaysian and stuff like that, martial arts flicks. John Wick, was it John Wick 3? I think he was in.
Yeah, and the Raid, Raid 2.
Yeah. That's it. They're Indonesian, aren't they? The Raid movies. Yeah. And he's basically putting them through the ringer, and you know we find out fairly soon that he's a mute deaf. Yeah. A mutant deaf, but like this is kind of where I was like, explain the trailer a lot too, because if you've watched the trailer and you know Bill Skarsgård's voice, because in the trailer you're hearing the voiceover in his head, you know, his inside voice, and I was like, that's not Bill Skarsgård's voice. Like, why is that?
What's happening? And then
so they kind of explain it at the start by saying he hasn't heard his voice since he was a kid, so he's forgotten his voice. So the voice if I'm inside my head, if I hear my own voice, it's my voice. He, as an adult, he doesn't know what his voice sounds like. So he's given himself a voice based on an arcade game that him and his sister played, which was like this kind of like a Street Fighter 2 voice, you know, Round 2, fight. And that's the voice going in his head. And I don't know about this. Like for the start, it was kind of funny. And it's, you know, the choice that they made is your man, H. John Benjamin, who's like, he's doing the voices in Bob's Burgers and Archer, and he's a great voice actor.
Yeah.
But it's very obviously a comedy voice actor. And like, I found it got really annoying after like 10 minutes. I was like, I'm not really into this. I wasn't mad. I know, and there is some great comic moments from it, but I found it kind of grating. I just wish he'd shut the fuck up. How did you? What was your feeling on it? Like, shut the fuck up as a mute guy.
Yeah. I fucking loved it. It did get slightly grating as the movie went on because there's a lot of dialogue, a lot of internal dialogue that he's going through. I think that if that had been maybe shaved down a little bit, just to allow Skarsgård to do more of that kind of physical comedy where he was really excelling in. But yeah, some of the moments with that internal voice. But just like, especially I think once after the training montage and once he starts kicking ass and whatever, the it really worked in the scenes where he's just it's kind of hilarious. But after about 20 minutes, it's just, you just kind of wish it was Bill Skarsgård doing a comedic thing, or if it changed, or if there was some reason why this guy wasn't doing the voice anymore. It would have helped a little bit. Like towards the end, that's why. I think the last act, definitely that 20-25 minutes, where that's when the voice thing was just not so much pissing me off, but it was getting in the way. There was a lot of things just getting in the way of enjoying the last 25 minutes, which, I guess we'll get into. But I thought the voice was great for the most part. For the most part, yeah.
Yeah, but like I'm not sure anybody would have asked. Like, I'm not sure if I'd watched this and they had used Bill Skarsgård's voice as inside voice. I don't think I would have gone, hang on a second, how would he know what his voice? I don't think anybody really would, or they would have been a passing thought. I don't think they really needed to make a big deal out of that. And it's just, there's so many of those moments where you get, as you said, the wonderful physical acting of Bill Skarsgård, and then a funny voice thing. Like, you'll just see him stop and then you'll hear, oh shit, you can hear the voiceover of oh shit. They do that like a billion times. Like once or twice is fine, but they do it so many times that it's kind of loses its effect as the movie goes on. But like at the start, man, there's it is laugh out loud the way they're doing it. Because he's doing this training montage and he's fucking up, and stuff, and it's funny. Like, it is, it's really, really good. But yeah, like we start, as I said, he's a little kid, and even as a little kid, your man, he's doing loads of drugs with him, like, and he's it's mental. Like, your man's getting like smoking, and the two of them are just tripping out to bits. And that's some of the voiceover stuff is funny there, because he's looking at what's his face, Yaya, and his fucking teeth are falling out, and they're getting up and dancing around and shit. Like, it is funny. Like, but we cut then back from him being young into growing up as Bill Skarsgård as the training, and you see, okay, the training's actually been happening for like fucking 15 years, because or whatever amount of years now has gone past, and he's hallucinating his little sister, which is not surprising considering he's been taking drugs. This old man's been giving him drugs for a couple of decades. He's seeing his little sister, and she's kind of stays with him. Obviously, only he can see her, and she's in it for most of the movie. And I thought she was wonderful. She's a great actor, man. That kid. Yeah, she was brilliant. Like some of the one-liners and stuff even she comes out with are fantastic. She's great. Yeah, I don't know her from anything, but she's really, really good.
Yeah, and there's the moment where they it's like one of the first action scenes, like we'll get to, but he's trying to take down like a fucking warehouse full of people, and she's just there, and he just can't ignore her, and she's just like, oh, what'll I be? I'll be I'm going to be a fucking butterfly ninja or whatever. And he's just like, that's not even a real thing or whatever. And then the next scene, he walks around the corner and she's just obviously manifested again, but she's in a butterfly ninja costume. It's like, here we go. Hiya, let's go. It's just, fucking adorable. She's just, she melts your heart. It's fucking great.
She's great. And isn't it wonderful at the moment? There's such a great crop, as there has been for the last 10 years or even longer, of kid actors that have been fantastic. And I don't just mean your Jacob Tremblay and stuff, but like the kids that were in Stranger Things, the lads from It, the remake of It, just the quality of kid actors is fantastic. If you go back and look at a lot of like ones we would have loved as the 80s, a lot of them grew up to be great actors, but the acting wasn't on the level that it is now. That these people are able to carry.
They were cute back then or something.
Yeah, like you look like they carry like the It episode 1, part 1 is fantastic, and it's carried by this fucking 5 kids or 6 kids. The whole thing is carried by these kids, and they're all fantastic actors. Stranger Things again, it
rests Dustin, on their shoulders,
and stuff. Yeah, they're all fantastic. So it's brilliant, and this kid is fantastic. But anyway, they go off into this village where he sells vegetables. That's kind of like their job, him and the shaman, and he goes in, and the idea is that he's getting trained and building up to take down the people who killed his family. They're called the Vanderkoys. Is the name of the family, and basically they kind of run things, and the culling is like a thing that they do each year to keep the masses in line. Anyway, he's in the village to sell his vegetables, and what they're doing in the village is they're rounding up people for the culling. They need 12 people. And that's all we know at the moment. You don't know how the culling is done. We just know they're rounding up people. And this is where we get introduced to the awesome Sharlto Copley, he's so good in this. Like, I would love to have seen more of him.
That was surprising.
But he's having a speech, so he's standing up and he's dressed in all this fucking dandy gear, and he's basically just a mouthpiece, and he's giving a speech to the crowd about thanking them for their, how much they love the family and da-da-da. And basically, the Flounder course are just loaded, and everybody out here is just poor as fuck, in this little village. But he's reading this speech, and it's great because your man Brett Gelman, who's is in Stranger Things, is playing his brother-in-law. He's one of the Vanderkoys, and he's the one who wrote the speech. And Charlotte keeps fucking reading it, going, "This is a load of bollocks. What are you talking about owls for?" And they're arguing back and forth, and it's a great back and forth between the two of them. It's really good, isn't it?
Fantastic. Like, straight away, you're just going, I could watch a movie based on these fucking two guys and just add a few more family members, and you just got another Royal Tenenbaums for the ages or something. It's just fucking electric, the two of them. Just brilliant. And not too much over the top. It's played very, comedic or whatever, but it's not slapstick or anything. It's very, very believable. Sharlto Copley he's not in enough stuff. He really isn't. He needs to be front and center more. Yeah, he's just, I could watch him for fucking hours and hours. He's brilliant.
Yeah, and he's great in this. Like, and as I said, he's the brother-in-law. Like, he's married into the Vanderkoy family, and he married Michelle Dockery's character, whose fucking name I've forgotten. But he's married her, and so he's the brother-in-law. But it's the banter is fantastic. But as they're not along, they're rounding these people up. Someone in the crowd fucking shouts out, like, "This is bollocks! You can't be rounding these people up to kill them." And he ends up losing the rag, and he fucking pulls a gun out, Sharlto Copley, and shoots. He doesn't even hit her. He just kills someone else in the crowd. And a big fucking riot. Yeah, the big riot fucking breaks out. And of course, so the fucking guards are holding them back with riot shields and stuff like that. But what's fucking cool here, there's a big mill up, is we get introduced to June 27th. I don't think they explain it as, I might have missed it. Did they explain
the name? No.
Why they're calling her that?
No.
So just this character, June.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
She's just fucking cool. Like, she's played by Jessica Roth, who is in, you ever see Happy Death Day, or the sequel now?
No.
They're great fun. Her character in it just keeps dying over and over again, the same day over and over again. Is getting killed by a serial killer, and it just keeps happening on the same day. And she's trying to figure it out, remembering bits and more to solve it, And they're really, really good fun. But like, it's the cool thing is that they give her this helmet, which is like Daft Punk.
Yeah.
But they don't explain how she controls it. Like, on the screen, she doesn't say anything at the start of it, really. Yeah. But she's got this cool looking visor, and like words come up saying like they want them to round up kids, and it comes up and says no kids. And then when she's ready to fight, like fucking fans come up as the picture on the little screen, and it's just, but she's not pressing any buttons or doing anything to explain why this is happening, but it's fucking cool. I kind of wish that the character was a little bit different. I would like to see her be like a Snake Eyes type character, as in she just doesn't fucking talk for the whole movie.
Yeah, she's just a fucking villain. Like, he's eventually going to fight her, at some point, because her getup is fucking great as well. Just love the colors, but it's just like black and yellow, and it's fucking cool. It's just kind of Kill Bill-esque, love it.
Yeah, she's cool as fuck. Anyway, she jumps in to help fucking fight, all the rest of it, and this is where this is before Shaman wanted all this stuff to happen, but Bill Skarsgård sees this as his plan to get in and take down Hilda, who's played by Famke Janssen. He wants to get in and kill her, so he smuggles himself in the boot of a car, and that's when they end up in this warehouse, where Daz was mentioned earlier on about the kind of fight where the kid is there. It's like he gets out of the boot of the car, and he's going to have this fight, and it's a good fight. Like, there's a lot of great action. It's some great kills, like fucking shotgun kills, and it's a gory movie, so there's some great action. But it's so disorientating that it's hard to keep up with what's going on, because it's just cut. Like, there's a couple of punches, cut. It's like, just pull out, let him have. Like, he's obviously got people on that can do like I mentioned. Liam Neeson in Taken, when they have, because he's older, when they have these action things, if he's jumping over a wall, or they have to do a bunch of different cuts, because he can't do full on, fight choreography. Fucking Bill Skarsgård can do it. Just have fucking show him taking down a bunch of guys and choreograph it properly. But this swinging the camera down under arms and between legs, and it's to make it look as cool as possible. But to be honest, you was almost getting fucking seasick watching it. Like, it's just, it's a bit too much. I don't know what you thought of it, Daz. But
yeah, like we spoke last week about Raoul Moon keeps popping its head up, but the geography of the scene, and this is by no means as bad as Zack Snyder's inability to coherently tell the audience anything. But this is like, you kind of, what's going on, and you know where he is, and you know where the enemies are, but you don't get the sense of progression of him, kind of like how many are left. You never really know how many are left, and when he kills someone, it's kind of like, oh, that's cool, and then there's another bit of maybe banter, and then it's onto the next kind of cool shot, and in between these cool shots is just a lot of not so much filler, but kind of like, oh, this would be cool. They want to go for a frenetic, frantic pace, and the editing is another aspect where it seems the editing gets, for me, worse and worse as the movie gets on, or as it continues. But in this, it's not too bad in this scene, but it's definitely, there's a lot of like 1 second shots, and a 1 second shot when the camera's moving, and that's just a lot to do if you're backing like 3 or 4 of them together. It's a bit kind of like, whoa, what the hell? Oh, that's cool. Oh, what the hell is going on? Oh, hey, that's cool. It was disorientating, a little bit. But yeah, it does get worse. But I enjoy this. I just, again, I like his physicality in this, and we're talking about June 27th's get up. Like Skarsgård, or boy, he's basically designed and he's outfitted as a computer game character. He's got the red leather jacket, sleeveless leather jacket, the kind of black below the knee kind of shorts, no socks, and then kind of white fucking trainers or whatever. You're just going, that's a video game character from anything in the noughties. And it just looks fucking cool when it's done on screen, especially when the cinematography is really nice in this scene. Throughout the movie, it's just very kind of dimly lit with just a lot of neon kind of harsh lighting, but he looks fucking cool in the scene. I just wish we could see more of what he's doing more often.
No, agreed. Yeah, and it looks even better when he's got fucking blood splattered on him as well. Like, and he's in his fight pose, and he's got, as you say, got the gear on. It's like, he looks badass.
Absolutely.
But while they're in this kind of place, like the warehouse place, it's obviously where they get a lot of the villagers to do work and stuff. He meets the character there, Andrew Koji. The character's name is Basho, and he's fucking chained to this bench. He's like, "Let me out! I'll fight with you." And so he frees him, and they're going on the team together. And he's like, he's funny. He had some great comedy to it. I think I really enjoyed his character. What's weird is one thing that I don't know if they paid much attention to was that we see, I think it's Charlotte Copley. No, yeah, it is, and Michelle Dockery take bangs from this inhaler. So I assume it's some sort of drug. They both kind of take a hit off it, because Basho here says, watch out, you're going to take down Dave. So Dave is one of the fucking guys, and Dave is just the name they've given to this one of the soldiers who's a lunatic.
Demented.
And Thing fights him, he fucking knocks his fucking jaw out, and he's ended up fucking snapping it into place again. But he takes the big huff off this thing as well, as if it's some sort of like fucking Bane taking Batman and Robin, taking a hit to make himself fucking tough as nails. But they don't explain it. They don't say anything, do they, at any stage about what's in these things?
And it doesn't. I thought this was a clear sign of like foreshadowing or something. Like, Dave is obviously like his jaw's out of whack and his fucking arm is chopped off, and he takes another hit of this and keeps coming. And you're just going, okay, is this gonna come back later on in the movie? Yeah. Is this going to play a more vital part in some of the fight scenes? But it never. I imagine it was something that maybe cut out or something, or on the editing room floor. Because it's never touched on again. It's never really even explained at all, which is quite strange, because I enjoyed the madness of Dave, and I would have liked to see, a scene later on where there's he has to fight 10 Daves who are all off their fucking head on this truck or something.
Yeah, and they can still fight with limbs getting chopped off. It's a good fun fight, and because it's just one-on-one, the disorientation isn't really there.
Yeah,
it's kind of, you can see kind of what's going on in that fight. It's cool. And they're obviously when we said about would have liked to see Charlton Copley more, it's because this is where Charlton Copley meets his end. So they have him on the ground. This is fucking brilliant. They have him on the ground. They're threatening him. They're like, well, tell us where Hilda is. Tell us where she is. And he's like, he's not going to tell them. And then so fucking Basho picks up this big fucking vice anvil fucking thing, and he's holding over his head. He's like, tell us where she is. And you can see him, and he kind of breaks, and he's like, look, I'm not like the rest of them. I'm married into the family. They make me do this. I hate them. He goes, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to fucking help you take it now. And it's telegraphed as fuck, because the music is starting to build into a crescendo as he's telling his little speech. And the whole time I'm going, he's about to die. He's about to fucking
he's
die.
going to drop it on his head.
Sure. And as he's in the middle of a sentence about how he's going to help them and take down the family, and next thing, Basho can't hold the oak anymore, so he just drops it. It's just fucking, but like, it cuts, his face gets fucking.
Yeah, you see it. Like, normally they cut away to that.
Yeah,
you just see, like, absolutely.
You see it, like, his face has gone, its eyeballs in a mess of gore. Like, it's just. And it's even though you know it's coming, it's still a fucking laugh out loud,
hilarious,
like shock laugh. Like it's
because he
really
says,
well
he looks up at it and he just goes, "Sorry, sweaty palms, sweaty palms." It slipped.
Yeah, Basho's just like, yeah, whatever, couldn't care less. Like,
that's great.
What's cool is you find Basho tells him that he's part of this resistance, and we're going to find the resistance, and we'll all go together and make a plan to kill Hilda. So they go and they meet his other mate, Benny, and the rest of the resistance apparently have all been caught or killed or whatever. So it's just Basho, Benny, and Boy. And this, I think, is where some great comedy comes in. That's
funniest bit, yeah.
It's because Boy is obviously, because he's deaf mute, is reading lips the whole time. He can't read what Benny's saying, and so he's mishearing him the whole time. And what we do is we keep getting visual representations as Boy thinks about what he thinks he just saw. And some of the stuff they cut to, because he thinks he's saying this random shit, like, and it keeps cutting to it. Like, at one point, he thinks he hears him saying something about a robot with a loaf of bread or something like that. He's thinking about it, and we cut to that. He's just, because he keeps mishearing him, we keep seeing these mad things, and it's really well done.
And the fact that
I love those parts.
That the bits he's missing is the plan. It's
the
whole plan.
He's just
so
smiling
like,
and nodding
right,
along,
okay, so you're going to go in here, and then there's a robot with a loaf of bread and a guitar, and he's like, what the fuck? And then it's like, some chickens are going to be playing violin or something, or whatever it is. And he's like, what the fuck? I kind of go, so you know the plan? He's just like, okay, yeah, know the plan. He has no fucking clue going in what he's supposed to do. Like, that was, that's because they do that a number of times, but it's just fucking hilarious. I was bellowing laughter during that. Just that's when it absolutely peaked in terms. I was just going to myself, the tone of this at this point was fucking absolute perfection. Just like the movie at that point is exactly what it wants to be, and I think everyone in the cinema, everyone's watching it up to this point, you're really just going, this is just riotous fun. Like, fucking bring it on. But it's great.
Yeah, no, it is. It's fantastic, and the whole plan is to get in. They find out that there's, from Charlton before he dies, that there's a big there's a party going on. They throw a party, whatever, once a year, and that's Hilda's definitely going to be there. Like, no one sees her for the rest of the year because she's this mad recluse. She's lost it upstairs a bit, and so they're going to this. So they're like, okay, we need to get a plan. So the plan is that Boy is going to dress as a waiter. That's how he's going to get in. The lads are going to dress as guards. And so he's going in as a waiter, but he has no idea what he's supposed to do because he didn't understand the plan. And so he has, and it's adorable again because he's in his fucking full outfit, but the little sister is standing beside him and she's got a little outfit on as well.
Yeah,
and cool. He's like, but inside you hear him and he's got, I don't know what to do. And she goes, well, you're dressed as a chef, just do chef stuff. And so he picks up a grater and like it's cheese or something like that, or a potato, and he just starts grating. And he's walking upstairs, like walking through the place, just grating stuff because he's no idea what he's supposed to be doing. And it's that great fucking physical comedy as he's going through just doing it. But he gets in then into the kitchen, and this is fucking awesome. He gets in, all the guys in the kitchen fucking pull out knives to have a fight with him. And what he's armed with is the fucking grater that he has in the hands, one of those ones that's on a handle. Man, some of those fucking things, like, I'm sure if you're listening to this, you can imagine it. Him getting the grater and he fucking catches it onto someone's arm and rips it across or hits it on their face. He's just
grating people to death.
It's vicious. It's fucking vicious. Like, it's so good. Like, that's a great fight. And he's building his way up. he's building his way up to kind of make his way up to kill Hilda. And when he gets there, he sees the family are all sitting around having like their dinner, and he goes straight in and just fucking chops off the head of Hilda. And like, okay, she's dead. But then it turns out it's not actually her. All the people that are in there, it was a setup. They reckon that someone was going to try this eventually. So they don't have anybody. They're all just actors there. And once again, Brett Gelman has given them a script to stick to. And they're also he's just chopped off the head of an actor. Yeah. And the only real person there is the granny. And it's a funny scene because, you know, he's chopped off the head, he's fought through all these people, but it's Brett Gelman is fucking hilarious because he's given out to the guy who plays him. He's like, I don't even know what to do with you anymore. Like, I don't know. Like, there's only so many lines. There's only so much I can give you. Like, I wrote this script, you know, and it's just, we're talking, there's a fucking headless person sitting at the table. You know, it's just so bizarre. But it's really, really funny. I think Daz, am I right in saying this is when, isn't it? This is when we kind of see, this is Jessica Roth comes in, you know, June 27th comes in now as well. And I think this is, he ends up getting captured. Like, they have a fucking fight and she's a badass.
She's fucking.
And we see her when she's like, and she wants to know where the shaman is as well. And so you're wondering then, like, okay, Jesus, he really is, this shaman is like the fucking bane of these people. Why is he so important? Why does she want them as well? And he ends up getting interrogated, and the family want him to give up the shaman and where he is. I think this is kind of, for me, is where it started to get a bit. This is where the pace changed a little bit. Yeah, you know,
it starts to not outstay its welcome, but it starts to, you can feel the time a bit more. It's you know, because the start it's very easy to keep that pace up, and it's relentless, and it's scene to scene so quick, and they start to just there's a bit more dialogue happening now, and there's a bit more kind of trying to get into like the backstory, and you know, even though all this happens in kind of one night, it definitely starts to slow a bit. It's just like the interrogation scene it's still good, and when they're on screen, the two of them, it's really nice. Like, it plays very well, but but when we get to the is it the Frosty Puss sponsor the culling?
Yeah. That's basically the culling that we mentioned is basically a TV show. So they advertise it. They've got a fucking sponsor, like a fucking, is it a breakfast cereal or something?
Yeah, Frosty Puff sponsor the culling.
Yeah.
That's and so it's brilliant. As a concept,
they're basically
it's wonderful.
Yeah, they're basically getting killed on live television, you know, by a bunch of people dressed up as like cartoon characters and stuff. They have these 12 fucking poor people come on, and they all have shock collars so they can't escape, and they're just gonna they're just pushing them on screen. That's how they kill them. And so
studio audience and all that.
It's mad, and they're all fucking cheering it on and all this shit. And like, I think Hilda, isn't it? Hilda comes out first, isn't it? And you see her, she's fucking losing the right. She's obviously been losing the plot, but you're not really sure why. She looks around and she sees Boy, and she's like, look, they all know, they look almost like people we care about and stuff. And she looks back to the crowd, and she's convinced she can see the shaman and all this shit.
She doesn't stick to the script, and she goes a bit fucking. You get a sense then she's fucking a bit off her head, you know.
Yeah. And then there's the whole, like I said, they're all fucking. There's a full fucking dance routine and everything with all these people that are in this getup, and then they all just start on the fucking murderous rampage to kill all these people in the culling. And it's mental. It is. It's the, you know, it's taken bits from The Purge. It's taken bits from what the fuck, the Hunger Games. You know, a bunch of different things. It's taken from fucking Black Mirror. There's a lot of derivative stuff in it. But it doesn't matter. It's still wild to see, you know, dudes dressed up as like fucking pixies or like fucking giant pirate heads on them, and they're fucking chopping people up.
One guy dressed up as a pineapple. It's like, all right. I thought this is fucking mental, and as kind of derivative as it is, and it's one of those things that just kind of works because how fucking mad it is. It's just I just love that tone, and they get that right, and they've built up the movie to this point where you believe that there's just going to be this audience watching this mass live TV murder fucking thing because it's been going on for 25 years or whatever. But yeah, it was wild, man. It was pretty grotesque and horrible and hilarious in equal measure.
Yeah, and it's a good fight, like, because he as I said, they're all these different characters, and they have, obviously they're famous, so one guy comes out and says, "Oh, it's Gary the goat," and this guy comes out dressed as a goat, and he's got a big fucking mallet, and people are cheering him on. Yeah, it's Gary, and so then they end up holding Boy down, and Gary picks up his mallet about to kill him, but then it turns out that Basho was actually, after getting in and dressing himself up in the Gary costumes, he gets the mallet and fucking beats the head off the guys who are holding, and it's vicious, like smashes their fucking heads in and saves Boy, and then fucking Benny comes in as well, and the three of them
go on a rampage,
just go on a killing spree. So it's just it's just good guys against bad guys. And this fight, man, there's some really cool deaths in this, because he gives Boy this fucking knuckle duster gun.
Oh yeah.
And so you fucking punch someone and shoots a bullet, man. That is fucking awesome.
Great idea, right?
It's so cool. He's just fucking shooting someone, and it's just like a punch with the power of a bullet firing out of it. It's just so fucking such a cool idea. And he's battering people, like, and he kills like fucking 20 guys. But unfortunately, the bad guys also managed to take down Benny, and then Basho as well gets shot. And it's sad, Basho gets shot, but he doesn't die straight away. But, Basho's obviously upset to see Benny go down. Benny actually, I think, jumps in the way, doesn't he, of the bullets to save somebody.
But as kind of
as he's dying,
as he's dying, Boy is over at Benny, and because he still can't lip read him properly, we never know his final words, but he says to Boy, like, "Golden toe jam." What? Okay. And it's just fucking brilliant. Like,
to witness to your final words, and he doesn't, he can't understand them. It's just, it's funny as fuck. Like,
it's great.
But yeah, they go on, and Michelle Dockery comes in, and she realizes that Brett Gelman was the one who helped Boy, get out of his shackles and stuff in the first place. He's the one, while they were interrogating him, he slipped him a scalpel under his fucking, in his sleeve, because Brett Gelman has had enough of it, what the fucking family do and all the rest of it. He's just like, I'm done with everything that we've done. It's awful, wants some sort of redemption, I guess. So she goes in and she wants to fucking kill everybody. So, but as she's shooting out of a fucking machine gun, Boy uses, and Basho used the guy dressed as a pineapple as a human shield.
Oh yeah.
And it's fucking gas. They're just rolling down. He's getting fucking blasted with bullets. Anyway, he ends up killing Michelle Dockery, and we move on then to isn't it, he gets up, he gets up to the next floor, isn't it? Has to follow. What we do is we don't even get to see the scene. The it's a big fight scene here, which had the potential to be an Old Boy style scene, because he's in the corridor.
Yeah, their choice is fucking bizarre,
and he has a sword. And so they've shown us fights throughout it the whole time, and they chose here to just do flashes of blood and the face and the anger.
They just keep the camera on him, like it's facing his face in like the whole screen. It's almost like an extreme close up, and it's just him and blood splattering on him, and then we get like a flash of someone getting hit, not even like fucking half a second or a few frames, and it's just back to him. And I imagine that is budget constraints or something, because like as an idea, it's kind of cool where you're going, oh, we won't show the scene, we'll just show his face and his reactions to the scene, but it doesn't quite work. Well, then, you're not, it doesn't like, work when the rest of the movie. Clever.
Yeah, if the rest of the movie isn't as violent as fuck, then this scene would make sense. If you could have him just doing it, but then we don't actually see the violence, then fair enough. But you've already had violence up through the roof until now. So what's the point in hiding it now?
And it's not a pivotal scene.
You can't show the killing.
Not a pivotal scene. If it was
a strange choice,
where, if it was, towards the end of a movie and something has happened to him, or he's, where he's emotionally fucking unhinged or something, and then you just show the camera on him as he fucking the rage, and you don't need to see the action, because it's all about his fucking rage and go mad. Something emotionally triggering that shot choice. But here it's like, this is not a pivotal scene. You could even take it out and the movie flows just as well. So it's just strange to to not give us the action that we're we're here to see, you know. Just strange.
Yeah, and as I said, it like I said, it felt like one of those oh boy style moments. It's the corridor on the way to the bad guy with a fucking bunch of guys in the way. You know, it's even, and this movie, I suppose, in a way, but you know, has some similarities as we'll get to towards the end with, you know, regards to oh boy and, you know, identities and whatnot. But yeah, he fights through, and when he gets through, he gets to the we find that Brett Gelman is sitting on the ground and he's covered in blood, because when he told Michelle Dockery realized what he'd done and he tried to walk out on her, she has shot him in the back. So he's lying on the floor covered in blood, and Brett Gelman tells him, like, here's where they're going to be. Here's a swipe card that will get you through to kill him. And it's kind of a sad moment here, I think, with because the little sister's there and she's telling him, you don't need to kill him. Like, he's just after helping us. And, you know, boy is there with the sword in his hand, ready to fucking kill him. And he just tells, like, I don't need you anymore. Yeah. You know, and it's lovely, just, it's,
and she says it again, because like tears in her eyes, and you're just going, this is fucking great. Like, their relationship is brilliant, especially like, because throughout the film, we've seen, you know, smattering of flashbacks between them. And the flashbacks are really kind of touching moments. Again, they're only fleeting, like, you know, 10-second flashbacks, but you really, it's the actors just doing their fucking job. There's really great chemistry between them, so that when she's looking at him like you don't have to do this. It's really it's like poignant in the midst of all this fucking carnage. It's I love when filmmakers can pull that off.
And as you said, like her Wendy's all these scenes that they're in together, like she's the only one with dialogue in the scene, you know. So she's doing so well. She's acting to get to what might as well be a green screen, because she's not getting anybody acting back like to her apart from physical comedy or physical acting. So she does so well. And I think there's an earlier moment where they kind of give her a line where he's trying to understand what Benny is saying, and she is like, what the fuck? She just has a great line and she delivers really well. And she hasn't cursed all movie, and it's the way she delivers it. She's really good. But anyway, he ends up telling her, no, I don't need you or whatever. And he kills Brett Gelman, and off he goes up to confront Famke Jensen. And this is where we kind of get a big reveal. So we find out that the whole time, like, he has been brainwashed by the shaman, which, you know, 20 years worth of fucking drugs will do that. And he starts, as she starts,
we've all been there.
As she starts to tell him who his real identity is. Because what happens is when he first breaks in, he looks up and he can see a painting on the wall, and it's a family painting, and it's him as a young kid with his sister, and Famke Jensen obviously is the mother in the photo or in the painting. And she's like, no, he's the one who brainwashed you into believing that, you know. And so you start to see the memories that we had seen had been altered by him over the years. Like, we see the shaman that fucking slapped him each time he got something wrong, and eventually brainwashed him into believing. And so what actually had happened is his family had been chosen, the shaman's family had been chosen for the culling. And they reckon that, as I think they said, isn't it the shaman had killed Boy's dad, and that's why they were killing him. And so Famke Jensen makes him hold the gun, and he ends up shooting at it. And so shaman's whole family gets killed. His wife and his son and daughter get killed. And the boy is so freaked out that he runs off away from the family. And shaman finds him and is like, right, this is how I'll get my revenge. I'll make you kill your own family. Yeah. You know, which is fucked.
It's fucking dark. It's very dark.
Yeah, it's dark as fuck. And then we find out then as well why June 27th is after the shaman, because she's his sister. And she's never stopped looking for him, and she reckons that it's the shaman's fault. The shaman has done something to him or has him. And so we're getting that whole thing. And but Famke Jensen realizes that boy is too far gone. You know, he's been fucking against her his whole life. He's
remember who he is.
So she's like, goes to June 27th, kill him. You just have to kill him. You know, he's not one of us. Anything that was your brother is gone. He's dead inside. But June 27th takes that moment to turn around, and she gets her axe and buries it into Famke Jensen's forehead. And of course, then they have to fucking fight to escape because all fucking hell breaks loose. They just killed the queen bee, you know. And some of these fights are fucking cool, man. Like, the fight and getting out of it was, like, because it's the two of them now, these two badass fucking ninjas kicking ass, and it's fucking funny, like, as well. Did you enjoy this scene? Yeah.
Oh, it's brilliant, yeah, because it's just relentless. It's total video game moment now, where it's just the two of them, buddies, kind of back to back, kicking the shit out of everyone and anything, and you're just waiting as the enemies kind of ramp up, and then you get armor plated enemies and enemies with fucking miniguns and yeah, some of it's fucking grotesque, wonderfully grotesque. But yeah, the two of them are fantastic. It's straight away kind of going, love a movie with the two of them. You know,
yeah,
easy.
Because she puts the helmet back on.
Yeah, they look fucking cool.
And
off
she goes
fucking
red
and yellow and black.
Yeah. It's I think even you said that after the movie, I'd totally play a video game of this. You know, it's
the best video game adaptation from a game that doesn't exist. You know,
it's a fucking cool fight, and obviously they fucking kill everybody, but then when they get to the end, they have to fight the boss. So in the very final action scene, they face the shaman, and it's a 2-on-1, but he is badass. Like this fucking, some of this, the fights, he must have probably helped choreograph it. Like he's
big time.
He's unreal. Like it's such a fucking cool scene, and it's brutal as well. Like some of the fucking, he has some of the cuts and the kicks and shit. It's a really coolly choreographed fight. And they're almost tag teaming, jumping in and out, and how the fuck he is fighting in flip flops. Man, I can barely walk upstairs. I can barely
walk in a straight line with flip flops.
No, I'm fucking. I remember the first time in years as an adult buying a pair. Was with D actually. We were in France, and I hadn't had more flip flops since I was a kid. But we'd arrived down to Biarritz, and I just fucking bought a pair as we were walking down, and took my runners off and put these on. I'd forgotten how to walk in flip flops.
Oh, I just kept kicking them off, and just like, what's going on?
Took 2 steps, and they both went fucking flying off down the road. I was like, right, this is how the fuck am I in my 20s, and I don't know how to wear flip flops. Like, it was ridiculous. But the fight is fucking really cool fight between the two of them, and it's again, as cool as this was, I was still at that point, because I felt at this point the movie had dragged out. I was still like, ugh. It's great. It's a cool fight scene, but I kind of wish it was earlier. I kind of could have done this and ended with this fight, you know, or something. It was just it kind of dragged a little bit, even the fight for me, as cool as it was.
Yeah, like there's some really, as you said, good moments. And again, like harper back to fucking Rebel Moon, but it's like some of the uses of slow mo in this are fucking brilliant. Like there's one point where Yayan grabs Boy, and it's like kind of grabs him midair and kind of jumps up and just basically fucking neck slams him down into the ground from fucking like 6 foot up, and it's just glorious. And the impact is just like slammed down full on. He's vertically head first down on the back of his neck, and it's in glorious slow mo, and it's just, and the crunching sound, and just looking at it, just going, that's one of the fucking coolest and most like horrible thing I've ever seen. It's just fucking phenomenal. But the fight was great, but I still think the editing, it's like we talked after it, there's one moment in this where there's no cuts, and it feels a lot longer than it is, but I think it's only about 5 seconds when
it's one-on-one.
Yeah, one-on-one, and they just, like, the sister's been knocked out, and they just have, and it's obviously Skarsgård has fully rehearsed this interchange with Yayan, and it's proper, like, bang, 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 blocks. You know, it's like something from, you know, The Matrix or The Raid or something, and it's fucking fantastic, and there's no cuts, and it's brilliant. It's straight away, like, that just elevate, like, that scene or that shot stands out so much from the rest of the movie, because you're just going, oh, I want to fucking see more of that. There's just, and then after that it goes back to the cuts, and I know, like, Bill Skarsgård is great in it. There's a lot of physicality, and he's doing a lot of the stuff. But obviously, I mean, I was thinking, like, with 25 million, you're probably not going to get, you know, 3 or 4 months of him rehearsing and practicing the way you would, let's say, in The Matrix or something like that, where they had the whole main cast, you know, practicing martial arts for like 4 or 5 months beforehand. And that shows. And same with I guess with The Raid, when you've got actually trained martial artists who are also acting like Crouching Tiger and Hidden Dragon as well, with Michelle Yeoh and Chow Yun-fat, who kind of learned a lot of the stuff and could do the stuff themselves. So there's not as many cuts, and that's why I just think longer takes showing actors doing the martial arts, just like that changed in kind of with The Matrix and Crouching Tiger, and that's 24, 25 years ago. And and Ray doubled down on that, especially for Western audiences, like Western kind of action movies. When you see a lot more kind of MTV style editing, which is obviously cutting around Bill Skarsgård not being as fucking great a martial artist as Yayan, who's fucking absolutely, he's been doing this since he was a fucking 2 years of age. So that, it was a fight of kind of moments. And I think I totally get you when you kind of feel the runtime, you're kind of going, I'm kind of ready for it to end now. Because fights with Yayan always, in the Raid 2, there's a fight that seemingly, like one of the last fights, it goes on for about 14 hours. But it's amazing, but you're just going, it must have taken them 2 years to choreograph it. But you kind of go, okay, I've had enough now. But they're still going, but this is fucking cool. And you're like, it is cool, but I'm kind of ready for it to end now. But yeah, the same with this movie. It was ready for it to kind of, let's get on now. We've slightly exceeded our welcome.
I think, and it's the same. Actually, it's another movie involving him. When I mentioned earlier, John Wick 3, like that. There's a fight where John Wick is fighting Yayan and another guy at the end of John Wick 3, and it's just it's one fight too many. It's just like, oh, come on now. Like I love those movies, but I don't think it needed it. It felt like, and it shouldn't. It should never get to the point where you're like, okay, that's too much fighting. But that's
must
what
be a hard
like.
thing to get right. In terms of like, you could easily come out. If you cut one fight and people go, oh, geez, would have loved a bit more of that. Or if you leave a fight scene in, suddenly people come out and go, it was a bit too much. Like, striking that balance must be a fucking nightmare. Or it could be luck of the draw sometimes. But this one, I think,
I think I think maybe it's not that there was too many fight scenes. It was that we'd already been, it had kind of been dragged out. It already had a period of it being dragged out to the point where I was like, I felt the movie already should have ended by now. So maybe it's not that there's too many fight scenes, but just that I felt the movie was already ready to be over and half an hour before, and it still wasn't. But like we kind of get it. Like obviously he ends up killing Shaman, and the sister. You think she's going to die? She's just fucking thing, and he's like, she's just leave me here, and he's like, no, when he picks her up and helps her up and off they go. That's kind of the end, isn't it, really?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Like it's, as I said.
Touching ending. But.
Yeah, it's just, I think an hour and a half would have been perfect. This would have been one of those ones where you're flicking through Netflix, go to that 90-minute movies section and go, yep, hour and a half, I'm going to get in, get out. It's going to be fucking well-paced action. I just think that there's the change of tone in this is what lets it down. As you said, a lot of the editing, the cuts. I wasn't, after a while, that voice fucking does great on me. I don't like it. It stopped being funny. But like it's fucking entertaining as fuck. Like it's a lot of fun. Like this is one that when it hits streaming, I 100% recommend you check it out. As Daz said at the start, it's a really good 3-star movie. It's one of those ones where it's not rewriting the script. It's not, it's not breaking really any new ground. It's just a lot of fun. It's hardcore action, a lot of violence, and it's just a lot of, there's some funny moments, laugh out loud moments. Everybody's great. Their characters aren't really fleshed out too much, but they're doing fantastic with what they have. Like, as you said, the interaction between Brett Gelman and Charlotte Copley is fantastic. Michelle Dockery, you just really buy her as being this absolute bitch. None of the characters are really fleshed out, but the bits that they do have to work with, I think they do very well with.
As an ensemble, it works very, very well. Yeah,
it's fun. It's just a lot of fun. Yeah. What's kind of give me some closing thoughts on it, Daz. I feel like I've done most of the talking through this one.
Yeah, no, I think you kind of summed it up perfectly. I think it's just right as fun. It does kind of outstay its welcome. I think it might be a better watch or an easier watch. You might not feel the runtime if it's a Saturday night Netflix movie when you're just chilling out and pausing on your phone or whatever and just checking it out. you mightn't feel it as much. I think in the cinema, you like, if something's 5 minutes too long, you just kind of feel it. You know, just start checking your watch and stuff. But yeah, no, thought it was great. Skarsgård is incredibly watchable. Great cast. Some of the music in it was great as well. Some nice music choices. Very inventive, very gory, and very funny. Yeah, and I would definitely recommend it as just check it out on a Saturday night, or just flick it on just for a bit of gore and a bit of yayan kicking ass. Just like,
I don't even know if it'll have much of a cinema run. That there was it only just came out, and there was only two showings per day, in the thing. So so it is. I don't think it'll be in the cinema that long. It feels like one of those ones that will be on streaming fairly soon. But it's recommend it, definitely.
Happy days. Cool, man.
Yeah,
that's great. Thanks, Phil, for that. Very enjoyable watch, and nice to change up the tone of a bit of happiness after the misery of Rebel Moon last week. So that'll be a wrap then on this episode of Middle Aged Geeks. Just once again, just thanks to everyone for the feedback and for watching and liking. We're on, your podcast app of choice. We're also on YouTube. Rebel Moon's getting nice good number of views. People just tuning in to hear us tear that movie apart. So that did well last week. So yeah, keep the feedback coming. Email us at middleagedgeeks@yahoo.com, or follow us on social media, TikTok, Instagram, anything and everything. Give us a like and share. Any last thoughts, Phil?
No, I just to say, I think that you're probably going to have to see a therapist to talk about Zack Snyder. That's about it. No, just echo what you said. Thanks to everybody for listening. And we look forward to bringing you a new episode next week.
Super duper. See you later. Slow-mo is awesome.